Let's not minimize impacts of a development on a site. Instead, ask ourselves, how can a development tie into and maximize its beneficial impacts on larger environmental systems?
It's an approach to designing a new infrastructure in the city that uses engineering, architecture, planning, landscape architecture, social, cultural, artists.
Well, I think the neat thing about low-impact development, it has multiple benefits, and it can be done from a person's home all the way to a municipality.
Low-impact development can mean so much for Northeast Oklahoma. Not only does it reduce rainwater runoff, which decreases flooding, it also improves water quality, and it improves our neighborhoods so that we have neighborhoods where people want to live and work. However, developers are kind of apprehensive about building these types of things because they're not as familiar with the techniques, and they're afraid of building costs and maintenance costs.
Want to hose them off or water them?
Yeah. Green Country Sustainability Forum has put together a Green Plates Low Impact Development Symposium to educate local practitioners, whether they be developers, engineers, students, as well as the local public, to inform how green infrastructure, low impact development type practices can benefit in various ways.
So during this symposium, professionals from across the state and country are coming together to talk about low impact development.
There's been a great range of presentations today.
So this is phase 2 that I've just been talking about.
From research related things to case studies.
Most all storm events go into this bioretention area. It never gets to that rim elevation.
And so just having that full breadth of projects has been really informative.
The core of the day's events was the LID competition.
Now, you see, if I let Lars run this thing, he probably would have called it like Development A. And I thought, let's name it something else. So here is Green Acres, it's the place to be.
Oh, this was an LID competition to try to expand people's horizons and teach them about low impact development and try to further the cause and get people to be aware of it and not be so afraid of it and maybe try it out on their next project.
The design competition takes 3 sites that are actually in the Tulsa area, 1 in Broken Arrow and 2 in the city of Tulsa proper, actual sites that will be developed. And it gives design professional teams of architects, engineers, and landscape architects. They form teams to build low impact development focused designs.
The process is actually really cool. The part that I like the most is that they force you to work with other disciplines. So we had to work with a licensed architect, a licensed engineer, and we were the licensed landscape architect.
This is laid out because an engineer is driving this train. This is our baseline condition. Exactly how I would do it. I've got right angles up here, very straight roads. Okay, it all connects together. It's easy to draw in CAD. I've got a really big asphalt parking lot that drains to a really big retention pond, which I get to design a really cool weir.
But Lars, what if we do something different than what we always do?
It was really great, and at the end I even had an engineer come up and say, now I know why we should work together.
So they're judged by expert judges throughout the country, and then there's 7-minute lightning round presentations tonight with jury judges right there on the spot.
The first round of judging that has already taken place, we had some expert judges from civil engineering, landscape architecture, low impact development, architecture, and hydrology that have really looked at these designs in depth.
And the winners will be crowned, and the $10,000 checks will be written to the winning team.
It was just a lot of fun. It was a new way of looking at development. The first time I laid it out, it looked very engineered and the same way I always do it. And then through our team process, we really worked together and said, this is the way we do it, but how do we make this different? And I think that it meant a lot. It was a big learning curve.
So conventional stormwater management relies heavily on concrete to move water off of the landscape and to our streams in the hopes of preventing localized flooding. However, it can actually cause flash floods in the stream because all the water comes to the stream at the exact same time.
So as we scrape away the soils and replace trees and meadows with pavement, it changes the hydrology.
Additionally, all the pollutants that are picked up in the water never have a chance to settle or filter out because they're moving quickly along the concrete.
As we've covered that up with compacted soils or turf grass or buildings, is the water will obviously collect on those areas and run off and flow off, and then we have larger volume because a lot of that water can't make it back into the ground or into the aquifers, and so it's collecting and being pushed off onto drainage areas, into home sites or whatever the location is.
Finally, the concrete and dirt work involved with this type of stormwater management can be very expensive, especially compared to some of the more natural techniques involved with low-impact development.
Stormwater in conventional design is a problem, and it's managed centrally with a retention pond, versus LID design stormwater is a resource which is managed locally.
We found that it was really important to maintain the existing drainage ways. For one part was to maintain the existing infiltration that was on the site, and the second part is to maintain the ecology that's on the site as well. Nothing can really do a better job than what's already there.
And then our last pod comes in. It still has these buffers around the outside, and there's a trail system. Everybody can connect to the trail from their backyard.
Permeable paving flows throughout the site, again, capturing as much water as possible.
This clustering helps us provide 40% open space with connectivity throughout the community, plus bioretention cells here and there scattered throughout to deal with stormwater.
We're using soil and vegetation to help filter pollutants and put water back in the ground.
And the idea is the more water that is infiltrated and or evaporated and transpirated, then has less potential to pick up pollutants and carry them on downstream. So what we're wanting to do is kind of take it back to where it was in the first place before we had the development.
And low-impact development designs significantly reduce the amount of concrete needed, so they are often much cheaper to build.
There's so much less concrete that our construction costs, we're going to save about $100,000 that way as well.
And neighborhoods become places where people want to live, so the property values will increase.
It's a really important thing that I think that Oklahoma is doing for its state, and you know, it's a critical piece to understanding the way in which cities in the 21st century will be designed and developed. Low-impact practices, which are green infrastructure, are a part of the new cities.
I've been thrilled to, as I've had a chance to look at LID planning and engineering, to see that what a large piece of the puzzle it is in attracting economic development.
And really, none of this is rocket science. All you need to know is that LID, it increases the stormwater quality and it decreases the quantity that runs off of the site.
And that's where people want to live and raise their families.